What's happening, everybody? I'm Christ, I am disciple. And first of all, praise be to the Most High God. The Most High God comes first. Secondly, shout out to my boy, Lord Koj. Lord Koj, I got so much love for you, brother. After watching the last video, the last stream that you did, brother, I am so blessed to know you. You know, I don't know if you still call yourself a Christian, but brother, boy, you keep on injecting truth, brother, truth, and grateful to know you. You're such a loving person. You know, at least what you manifest to us, which is a very important thing. Um, so shout out first of all to my brother Lord Koj. Love you, brother. You are a brother from another mother. You know, I'm a Jesus man, so I know Jesus live in you, brother. That's all I gotta say. And you constantly expand your knowledge and understanding, and the Lord will bless you, brother. The Lord will give you the desires of your heart, brother. That's all I gotta say about that. I ain't gonna go much further than that, but I know, brother, that God is good, and I just want to say that. You know that I also do this business here on 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 uh on YouTube, and my purpose for being here. Everything still has the Most High behind it, even though I curse and swear and all that stuff, which I'm not proud of doing. I carry on like a fool sometimes. Where my heart really is. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to say shout out to Lord Koj. Hopefully I can have you on a stream, brother. We can collaborate, work together, because the heart of God is in you, brother. I'm gonna say that one time. Just had to say it. I don't care. Um, I've got to go out and work, but before I go out and work, I was planning to do this stream, and what Lord Koj's got now. For those of you who don't know who Lord Koj is, what I'm gonna do at the end of this stream is I'm gonna put you guys come back to the stream, or if you're not on this stream right now, you can come back to the stream. And what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to check the link. I'm gonna link his video because the video that he did, most recent video on his stream, I'm gonna link that video right now. I can't actually, I probably can show you, so I'm gonna show you. How am I gonna show you though? I'm not quite sure how I'm gonna go about doing that. Actually, all right. You know what? This is a priority. So I have things planned out, but I'm gonna just move out of bookmarks for a second here on Twitter. And I know I told you guys 10 minutes was supposed to be the stream for this Free Palestine thing, but I'm gonna talk about that a little bit later. But let me see here. I'm gonna find Lord Koj if I search for him in my people I follow, because I think I follow him. Can I do a search? There's no search engine. Okay, hold on a second here, people. Let's see, I find Lord Koj somewhere in here. Or just Koj. I wish this was in alphabetical order to make it so much easier. But it is what it is. It's gonna take a little while, ladies and gentlemen. But I really wanna. I'm pretty sure he posted it up on here somewhere. Let's see if I can find it. He's definitely somebody I'm following, so I can find him. See if I find his post on Twitter, so you guys could go watch that post. Because seriously, man, I'm telling you, man, that was a great video. I was planning to get out of here and go on my business, but it was worth my while. So I'm gonna hold on a second. It's raining outside anyway, so I can't go anywhere. I'm supposed to go out and sell drinks and cleaning apparatus. All these are wonderful people here. All these people I follow are wonderful people. Shout out to all the wonderful people in the world trying to do some good in the world. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. Let me double down on that again. Shout out to all the wonderful people who are trying to do some good in this world. shout out to all y'all. You know, there's a little song that goes, you know, if I can help somebody as I go along. I love that song. You guys know that song? If I can help somebody with a word or song, if I can help somebody as I go along, then my living shall not be in vain. That's a beautiful song. The rain's falling. Oh boy, it's really falling. Like, really wild. Like a tremendous wind just came in there. And it goes, then my living shall not be in vain. Oh, my living shall not be in vain. If I can help somebody as I go along, then my living shall not be in vain. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Listen, I can't help it, man. You know, we all try every day as common folk not to control people. We all aspire every single day to try to do something good, to try to do the right thing. That's all we aspire to do. You know what I'm saying? That's all we aspiring to do. What's this? Hold on a second here. You know what I'm saying? Hold on a second. I don't know where Coach is. That's crazy. I'm looking for him. I don't see him. Oh, verified. Maybe he's not verified. Ah, man. So we're going to talk about Restore the Snyderverse, and then we're going to talk about Free Palestine. But it's very important. It's very important before we even begin to talk about this topic. I refer you guys to Lord Coach J's link concerning his video. Man. See if I can find it, though. Gotta find it. Know what I'm saying? Said, if I can help. I'm gonna sing while that's going on. I don't know how the audio is coming across on this thing, but I don't care. Somebody as I go along, if I can help somebody with a word or song, if I can help somebody as I go along, oh, my living shall not be in vain. Oh, said my living shall not be in vain. Oh, my living shall not be in vain. If I can help somebody as I go along, by living shall not be in vain. Thy living shall not be in vain. Whoa, yeah, yeah. I'm looking still, people. I'm looking. There's a little song that said, "We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones to make a better day. So let's start giving. There's a choice you're making. We're saving our own lives. It's true, you make a better day, just me and you." I don't know if you guys know that song. It's written by Michael Jackson, by the way. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones to make a better day. So let's start giving. Actually, it was Stevie Wonder. There's a choice you're making by saving your own lives. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me. Yeah. I remember those little songs. Trying to unite the world together, you know? Unite the world together, but some people don't want to unite the world together for that reason. They want to unite the world together to rule it, to govern it. Here's what it is. I don't know why I can't find Lord Kojay right now, but basically he has a video that you guys need to go see. Okay? His channel, his name is Kojay. Actually, you know what? I can find it another way. I'm gonna circumvent the system. Boom. Let's go, let's go, let's go, baby, let's go. This is how we're gonna do it. I'm gonna show y'all how you do it. How you get around the system. Hey. Whoa, cool. I got into YouTube. All right, we're gonna find him now. Kojay. Beautiful, beautiful. I didn't know I could be on YouTube at the same time. It's a channel. Oh, there's a lot of Kojays out there. I didn't even know that. Y'all making it hard for me, man. Can't you start with the most popular and go back? Man, it's so weird. I may have to go into my subscribers. Let's go subscriptions. There you are. Boom. All right. See this video right here? Kojay's Corner. Watch along and reaction. The mystery of Israel solved. I want you guys to go check out that. See that? That's what I want you guys to go check out. Anybody viewing this channel, if you're not Lord Kojay, I want you to go out there and check out Kojay's Corner episode 29. Watch along and reaction. The mystery of Israel solved. Please do that. This is 1 hour of your time that is not going to be wasted. Okay? Shout out to Lord Kojay. You know, we talk about the Illuminati. We talk about the New World Order. Man, bruh, if y'all only know. If y'all only know. If you only know. If you only know. If you only know. Oh. If you only know, if you only know, oh, if you only know. So check this out. Lord Kojay, for those of you who don't know, Lord Kojay is like a mother from another, a brother from another mother from California, up in Cali there. I used to be up in Cali back in 2006, 2007 to 2009. I was down in South California by the San Bernardino area, going to school at Loma Linda University, studying biomedical sciences and stuff like that. Supposed to go into medical school. And I'm still going to do that eventually, but I'm not going to speak on that right now. But the point is, been up in Cali. Cali are nice people. You got the fake Californians, and then you got the real guys, the real deal. I mean, guys who will give the shirt off their backs to you. That's how nice these people are. And I've met people like that. When I was homeless in California, for those of you who don't know, I was homeless in California in the year 2008 to 2009. I was a student. I was switching universities. Um, and my visa information went down. So I used to work at one university, which was Loma Linda, and then I think my visa was expiring, plus my scholarship was kind of ending, and so I had to move across. So I went across to University of California Riverside there, and I was trying to transition into there and get a scholarship in there, and we had problems getting funding and all of that, and I ended up stranded in between those two transactions with my visa expired, and it was a real tricky situation because I was there. I ended up displaced, homeless, or they say in between homes, and I didn't have any transport or anything. At the time, the economy had crashed, and in 2008, after Barack Obama had become president, and it was a rough time. A lot of students were suffering as well. Some of them slept in their cars. I ended up sleeping with some Christian brothers inside of an apartment building. They saw me. They realized that something was up. You know, I used to sleep on the side of a church behind a billboard sign at 3 o'clock in the morning. That's when I got my sleep. I used to move in between. I used to stay in the library in the university and study. And then, of course, I had to end up trying to get income whichever way. I used to recycle stuff. So I used to take old bottles and cans and bins and carry it to the recycle bin to be recycled glass stuff. And yeah, I didn't have a place to stay. And I remember it was wild times because I didn't eat regularly or anything. I may eat once a week, twice a week, drink water in between. I shrunk down to like 120 something pounds. I currently weigh like 170 something, 180 something pounds now. I shriveled up into almost nothingness. And I remember I used to read the word all the time, but I remember those times because I remember the Christian brothers that took me in and let me stay with them. And of course, I wasn't there all day. I'd be out, trying to study, trying to get to medical school. Ended up doing the MCAT during that period of time, and I actually passed I got a passable score, and then I went to DC. I went to Howard to try and get in there. So anyway, the point is that I could tell this story because it was really some loving, caring brothers who just saw me in my area of need. They inquired about me and they were able to help me out my situation. And they gave the shirt off their back, literally. They gave the shirts off their back. They even, let me stay. I used to sleep on the couch. They, food and stuff, they used to help out the homeless and the needy, and they saw me on campus and they identified me, and I came there when I moved to the campus, so I had visited them once, but there was no like, and they were inter denominational, so they were a group of people who had multiple different faiths, but they got along with each other really well, and they shared the word with each other. So it was really interesting in that scenario. And Koj reminds me of those kinds of guys from California. He really does. He's really a nice guy. To this day, I'm still friends with these guys on Facebook. By the way, shout out to Sean. Shout out to Matt. Shout out to of course we've gone on with our lives and stuff, and they have kids and stuff. Daniel, uh, you know, um, shout out to the young ladies as well in the religious circle. You know, some of them got married and stuff and have kids and so on. So I just wanted to shout out to those brothers because those brothers, you know, and we had some deep conversations with them. I remember having some deep conversations with Daniel. Daniel came from a Korean family, and it was just really interesting hearing him talk about his wife is Mexican, and it's just interesting, having left my home country of Trinidad, which I'm in now, and traveled, you know, to the United States of America. I was in the Northwest at first, and then I went to the Southwest. Um, it was a very informative experience. People are people wherever you go. The fundamentals of our humanity is the same. But the thing about it that's really interesting, and why I want to even stress on this and talk about it, is because what I found out is love is not just a word, man. It has meaning to it. It's an action. It's a verb. It's not just a word. And when people show you love, it's not something to take lightly. We take a lot of things for granted. And God's love to us is not something we should take lightly. You know what I'm saying? And so I just wanted to say that because Koj comes from a place of love. He definitely does. And he kind of teaches me how to, because I love to argue with people. So I'll be on the front lines arguing. I'll argue away. I love to argue. I like to debate. I've realized that about myself. And I like to back and forth. I like to fight. I naturally have that fighting warrior blood inside of me. So I'm ready to fight with somebody. And the other funny thing about me is I'm not really a A-type personality, so I'm not really strong as a personality, but don't get fooled. Because I'm willing to duke it up and go. You know what I'm saying? Um, and so because of that, and I'm very diplomatic, I speak with people, I try to consider people's feelings. But if you violate, I will come right back at you. I'm that kind of guy. So, but the thing about it is that, and I've never been really somebody who always wanted to be with the popular crowd. I'm not really one of those guys who likes to roll with the end thing. I like to do my own thing. I beat to my own drum. And I'm not really the most sociable person. What I mean by that is, if you were to meet me in a crowd setting, you're more than likely not going to see me because I'm not going to try and be prominent. I'm not going to try and be in the front line. I'm not going to try to be obvious. I'm the guy in the background. you know, um, and I tend to like to spend time by myself a lot. In fact, it's one of those things where I enjoy having my own free space and being able to do whatever I want to do and just being alone. I don't have a problem with that. A lot of people have a problem with being alone, but I'm introverted, so I get charged up being by myself. The bad thing about it is when you don't interact with people long enough, you really miss the interaction. So when you get out there and you start to interact with people, which is why I'm even going out and interacting with people today, you really get a real sense. This internet thing is cool and everything, but literally being interacting and dealing with people on a no matter what response they give you, for some reason that's actually delightful in the beginning. As you start to take that grind, as the grind starts to come down, it's not as nice. And it depends on the intensity. So I'm a guy who I get drained when I'm amongst people. Like initially it's great. And then as it grinds down, I get drained. Because when you interact with people, people have so many different ideas, so many different things. If you're focused on something, it can distract you from your focus, and then you don't have any energy to focus anymore. You know what I'm saying? So that's my personality. I'm introverted by nature, but I love interacting with people. I love people. Um, and it's great. It's just I can't have it too much of it. You know what I mean? Like I probably wouldn't do too well being super popular and people just beating down my door and they're coming at me because I know a lot of times you have to come from a place of love, and I detest people coming at me just like that out of the clear blue sky, one after the other. It's like a bombardment for me. It's not the same. Like some people, it's cool, to for somebody to show up at their door and they're cool with that. They're social and stuff. I'm not that. I'm not that guy. Like, I purposely try to inform people before I go by them because I wouldn't want somebody to just show up at my door. And but people do that in my part of the world, and it's okay. It's all good. It's all good. You do have to sometimes drop everything you have and pay attention to them. Sometimes, again, you can't do that, so you have to say, well, listen, this is a very important time, or I'm very busy doing this. Um, but by and large, people are awesome, and I know it can be terrible because in my country, like especially around month end, you can't pay bills, you can't go to the store, you can't do anything without a whole long line of people. But what I always try to ask myself is, okay, it looks like an inconvenience. What are you going to do with your time when you're amongst people like that? If you have a conversation with somebody, the time seems to fly away, especially if you're having a good conversation with them. Even if they're in a rush to do something, sometimes you have traffic jams. It's not cool, but I always think, these are moments you're not going to get back. So what are you going to do with it? What's the most you can make of that moment? And sometimes it's a moment where people are all crammed up in the area to sing, if you could sing. It's a moment for you to recite a poem or talk to somebody, and have a conversation going. Because not everybody want to hear your voice. They might be irritated. There's a lot of irritated people. So, it's those things that, I just wish, if you have any kind of love for humanity, right? If you have any kind of love for humanity, then you will want the best for people, no matter who they are. Of course, you won't want the best for somebody who's killing other people. Maybe the best for them is killing more people. But I mean, by and large, you see a person as a threat to humanity because they harm so many people, because they don't care about human life, it seems, and only care about their life and their existence. So I just wanted to put that out there before I even go into the stream. I don't know how much time I've just has elapsed. Let's see. Oh wow, 27 minutes. I spent 27 minutes. But I just think that this is something I just wanted to share with you guys. People mean well, people who want the best for themselves, their families, and maybe even by extension humanity. They're always awesome people. All right, Lord Koj, don't forget that. Let's get into here. So what we're gonna do right now, there's stuff live going on, but I just want to focus a little bit on the Snyderverse for a minute. So let's start off with Cine House. Cine House, shout out to Cine House in the building. Oh, I got more stuff from Cine House, but first let me just start off with this. Cine House said, I am confused because Twitter told me Netflix didn't want more Rebel Moon content. But the director of Rebel Moon, a person who has direct access to Netflix, is saying they want more Rebel Moon content? Sounds like somebody's lying on this app. Now, for those of you not aware, there are people who do not like Zack Snyder. Okay, they just don't like him. Okay, and the thing about it is, most of these people some of them are fans, some of them are part of the, general audience, but most of them are in the industry. They're actually industry people who don't like Zack Snyder. Okay, I mean, you can mention them. There's Jeff Johns who doesn't like him, etc., etc. And these people are trying to create narratives. And what's happening is you have people within Warner Brothers like Casey Bloys, who is known to send out people and bots and campaigns against certain critics who may have said something negative about some content on HBO Max. Well, they've been employing these things and these methods and these bots and paying fans, paying people, not necessarily fans, but people probably in the industry or outside the industry, like influencers, to create certain narratives blacklisting Zack Snyder. They've been trying to do this since Zack Snyder did Man of Steel. Okay. So I always wondered what was the motivation behind it. And people say it's a conspiracy theory. It's not a conspiracy theory because everything's coming to pass. Zack Snyder does movies which benefit humanity, meaning he's a guy who would do a movie that is talking about some aspect of humanity. But in doing that movie, he's exposing Sucker Punch was such a movie that exposed Hollywood. He was speaking about how business pimps the artists, and how can the artists come out of that. And he was directly speaking about Hollywood. And that's why, the critics really ripped into that film, and they were really looking to tear down that film, so to discredit it, so nobody would watch it to understand what Zach was saying. And he elaborated in tremendous detail on that film. That film also involved pedophilia. It also involved domestic abuse. These are things that are rampant within the elite, particularly pedophilia. And just to give him a shout out again, Lord Kojak was speaking on that, did a video in which we were actually looking at that. And if you look at the current Palestinian Israeli conflict, they call it the Palestinian Israeli conflict, but really truly it's the slaughter and oppression of Palestinians by Israelis, particularly the IDF and the government. You will find that this is also a common theme. You will find that a lot of beheaded babies happened in Palestine. There was no beheaded babies in Israel, but there was beheaded babies in Palestine. They are targeting kids. They know these are children, and they're still killing them off. Atrocities between women and children is a no-no in America, and they're violating that like it's nothing. And we've seen the children trafficking trade. We've seen the children sex trade. We've seen the pedophilia that's happening in Hollywood. And Zack Snyder opened that Pandora's box with Sucker Punch. That's just the beginning, because he did continue that again, and he spoke about these things in BVS, sex trafficking rings and stuff like that. He also spoke about how against the CIA in a sort of way, talking about how nefarious it can be and how it controls things and how it will eliminate targets that are no longer beneficial to it, or their agents have been exposed, so they'll eliminate the target. And they talk about, in Naromi, how they were ready to bomb the village of rebels in Naromi, that they knew were being armed by a American company, which was, of course, Luther Enterprises. Furthermore, Zack Snyder again exposed a lot of other things, but Rebel Moon was his most recent movie, and people are talking about it's such a terrible movie and everything. Rebel Moon Part 1 and Part 2, but Rebel Moon came out on the heels of the Gaza slaughter that's happening, the Gaza genocide that's happening. And it's interesting when we compare Hamas and we compare all these resistance groups like Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis. And they talk about it being financed by Iran, but it's the area of resistance, and it's called the area of resistance for a reason. Let's not forget the atrocities that happened in Iraq, where American government rolled up into preemptively attacked Iraq, which had never attacked America, and there's no evidence to show that Iraq has attacked America, claiming that there were weapons of mass destruction, and there was no weapons of destruction. And Mr. George Bush, who's still alive, has still not come up on criminal charges, on charges of war crimes. He should be a war criminal. He should be put into prison. And we thought he was the worst thing ever until we saw some other presidents come on the scene. And right now, Joe Biden is no better, and Barack Obama is no better either. They're all terrible. Have all committed atrocities, and they should be brought to justice. But we will talk about that a little later. Anyway, the point is, there are these elements in on Twitter, and they come in their 30s and 40s. They don't have enough to do hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them, but they come in their 30s, their 40s, and they move along the internet. They move to wherever Snyder fans may speak on something, and they respond. But we know some of them are bots. We know some of them are, well, almost all of them are fake accounts. We know they're also industry insiders. We know they're associated with James Gunn. We know they're associated with Casey Bloys. And Casey Bloys had this strategy trying to attack and flood. It's just that there's not enough of them. So they probably represent about, in terms of Snyder fans, in terms of the Snyder base, if we wanted to talk about Snyder fans versus Gunn fans, which is not really a thing, but whatever. In terms of the Snyder base, or people who appreciate Zack Snyder's movies, they are really a very small percentage of that population. They're not a some of them are population side effect, but what I mean is that compared to them, they're a very small amount. Okay. A lot of people love Zack Snyder's movies. A lot of people actually enjoy what Zack Snyder does because he brings that humanity in an organic way to the cinema. And we like that in comic book movies. We haven't really seen that since Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. Even Blade didn't really bring it. Blade was pro humanity, but it was more of an action flick. But when it comes to like The Dark Knight, which also brought some level of humanity, but still wasn't personalized. We weren't seeing things from Bruce Wayne's lens like that. We really got it with Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder brought out in Man of Steel. It showed the journey of a hero, an iconic hero, and how difficult that journey is. And I think that in and of itself is something we can all identify with because we have difficulty in our journeys in life. And I think that right there was the beginning for me. I did watch all these other movies, Watchmen. Watchmen was interesting because of the ending and everything. I didn't watch the director's cut of Watchmen yet. I'm gonna go watch it, but eventually. But he was known for Watchmen, Sucker Punch, Owls of Ga'Hoole. I watched that. It was a great movie. I taught again all these intrinsic little lessons inside of the movie that I really love. Zack Snyder's teaching kids, but he's coming with these life lessons that it's a struggle, and you don't become what you are without those struggles, without those difficulties, without those challenges. And I think that's beautiful, the coming of age of a person. So I just think that ingredient is missing in entertainment today, in a meaningful way. But here, anyway, the trolls anti said that Zack Snyder, he's not going to be able to work in Hollywood anymore. To hear people say that tells me you have to be inside of Hollywood to be saying something like that. You're wishing his downfall. He's a terrible director. They say, his fans don't know cinema. They don't enjoy. They don't know what good cinema is. They just only know Snyder's movies, stuff like that. And so they said that he's not going to have much of a future in Netflix because Rebel Moon Part 2. It was 3 weeks in the top 10 and it came out. So they said, he's gone through. Meanwhile, these same people are apologists for James Gunn's repeated failings in the DCEU, whatever you want to call it. He's repeatedly failed in his own movie to break even at the box office. And then on top of that, he's failed with the 4 movies that he was given charge over. Or it's really 5, but 4. He was given charge over. He couldn't make box office either. And he's been a failure since he's come to DC. He's done his thing with Marvel, which Kevin Feige has a structure for that. But he has failed when it comes to DC, and he's still there, and they're still staying with him because he's he's one of the boys, as my boy Koj said. He's part of the system, he's been doing, and he speaks, his jokes are pedophilic jokes, his jokes are sexist jokes from back in the day, and he got passed on that as well. I defended him as well, saying he's not the same person, but he is the same person. He still has the same jokes. He still puts the same pedophilic stuff inside of his movies. And it's just very interesting that he's given free reign to do whatever he wants with Warner Brothers, but I guess he's part of the boys, and somebody said a word, no, this guy got to stay in there. So he's there. And again, I want you to go look at Lord Koj's video because it's going to make perfect sense after you watch the video why I'm saying what I'm saying, because Hollywood is linked to the CIA, which is also linked to the Israeli Mossad and the Israeli. If you look right now, the negotiations between Hamas and Israel are mediated by the CIA. Okay. Israel's one of those information grabbing places. They're grabbing as much information. And yes, Russia does it to America. Private companies in America do it too. But Israel is linked to the information grabbing place. Okay. So when I tell you there's a Zionist agenda in Hollywood, I'm not lying. Now, there are Jews. There's a lot of Jews in Hollywood, but there are Jews in Hollywood who are not about that. George Lucas was not about that. You have, right now, killing it right now. fighting the fight, the good fight. John Cusack. I mean, he's very vocal on Twitter. Susan Sarandon. My boy who's going to do Joker Part Two, the actor. There's a lot of Jews in Hollywood. Okay, there's just a lot of Jews, but don't lump them in with the Zionists. Please don't do that. Okay, but the people who run Hollywood are Zionists and they are Jewish, along with the CIA. And there are certain messages they want people to have and certain messages they don't want people to have. And as the media, as again, we got to go see Lord Kojay stuff because he's just so good with it. As the media becomes more controlled by them, your Illuminati, as they call them, but they're not Illuminati, but nonetheless, you get more of this. Okay. Now, so these trolls roll up on Twitter and they're saying, Zack Snyder's not future. Rebel Moon was a flop. It was this. It wasn't a flop. It was critically panned. But that's the machine, the Hollywood machine. They don't want Zack Snyder to have success. They don't want his movies to be seen by the masses and appreciated by the masses. They want it to be dismissed. So they're trying to cancel him through an outdated critic accumulation system, which we don't care about. Nobody cares about Rotten Tomatoes anymore. People seem through the bullshit. We know that critics are paid to write good reviews and paid to write bad reviews about certain things. We know that with social media, Warner Brothers, particularly Casey Bloys, has admitted that he's had paid people and to have campaigns against critics or sense this person targeting people, specific people. We've seen Donald Trump target specific people. We've seen Israel target specific people and kill certain people, the Mossad, etc. And we're seeing that same sort of satanic sort of behavior amongst executives and companies and so on. Silence this person, quiet them down, destroy this person's reputation. So this is not surprising. I remember Jeff Johns threatening Ray Fisher that he will never do Cyborg anymore. And, the company of Warner Brothers, you've heard the sentiments by these people over and over, and you would see it in their trolls as well. The trolls have been given the directive. Zack Snyder must never do another DC movie. Zack Snyder must never have a future in DC. Zack Snyder's career needs to be destroyed. Blah, 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 blah. Okay? Now, I'm not saying this because I'm just love Zack Snyder and worship Zack Snyder. I'm saying this is happening. And this has been happening for a long time. And politicians, oh, you want to go against AIPAC? You want to go against Israel? Okay, you're not going to have a political career anymore. We're going to kill your career. You see the same satanic attitude of people who they can't win the argument, so they try to kill the messenger. Okay, they've done it time and time again in the Bible with the prophets. They've done it time and time again with Jesus. They couldn't fight his message. Didn't have an answer for him, so they killed him. And this is what they do with people like that. So Zack Snyder, David Ayer, he's trying to play ball. You shouldn't play ball with these people. You should need to be unapologetic. Unfortunately for David Ayer, I'm not supporting him anymore. Patty Jenkins got it. They killed her career. And they do this because you're going against them. And they have no other, they can't win the battle of truth. So they decide, I'm going to get rid of the truth teller. Zack Snyder with Rebel Moon, he said this about Netflix. I keep telling Netflix that we need to go ahead and do some more Army of the Dead. And they keep encouraging me to make more Rebel Moon movies. But I feel like this Army universe is very rich and fun. And zombies never go out of style. So it just feels like a no-brainer to me. And this is very recently, Zack Snyder said this. And so, once again, the people who base their stuff on falsehood, on lies, and on trying to discourage people from moving forward, they're constantly being checked by the truth. Zack Snyder, he doesn't even business with that, but we business with it, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. Let's keep it moving. Shout out, by the way, to Cinehouse on showing that. The hypocrisy. So once again, I just want to just go into this only because of the detractors out here. So a detractor named Richard, I don't know what he is. We could actually investigate him. Let's see if he has any followers or anything. So this is Richard. And he's a legitimate channel because he's following 460 people. He's 306 followers. So he's a legitimate channel. When did he come into existence? 2018. Okay. He's a comic book fan. He said, "That's what I want out of my Superman. Complete and utter hopelessness as the climax of the film." So he's saying that in Man of Steel, the climax of the film was complete and utter hopelessness when I guess he snapped Zod's neck. But that's not the end of the film, and it's not the climax of the film. Complete and utter hopelessness. So this is Clark talking to his mom about what he wants to do with his future, and he's going to become Clark Kent, the reporter in the Daily Planet. That's what he's saying. And so the film ends like that. But he's talking about the climax. He's talking about when Superman broke Zod's neck. You know, he yelled out because he had to do a conflicting thing, and he's comparing that to complete and utter hopelessness. But really, that's not hopelessness. That is agony that I have to kill my own fellow man, kill a fellow Kryptonian, which I genetically and otherwise actually have common, to protect a people I've grown up with and been civilized by. Well, Ski the Canon Agenda said, "What would you have done if you were Batman in this situation?" I want to show you the picture so you can see it. So here's Batman, and here is Harvey Dent with, I believe that is Commissioner Gordon's son, and Batman had to kill Commissioner Gordon. He leaped to save the kid, and he ended up killing Commissioner Gordon. Now, he's asking, what would you have done in that situation? How are you going to let Harvey Dent live? The kid's going to die. And it's basically the same situation as with what we were about to talk about. So let me get to it. There's a lot of atrocities that are committed by Israel, but this is it here. So a similar question can be asked. Guy FDM, who I don't follow anymore, what would you have done if you were Superman in this situation? And I'll show you the situation. That would be this situation here. So again, Superman, Zod's there. He's firing, obviously, heat vision from his eyes. His eye sockets, ladies and gentlemen, not his eyeballs. And he's because Superman's kind of holding him, he's inching closer and closer to the family. Superman can't stop him, so Superman kills him, right? You would be amazed at how the antis try to come up with something. It's all kinds of cockamamie to save Zod's life. They talked about Superman needed to pull Zod's head upward. I don't know how the hell he's doing that while he's having in that pin position, but he was supposed to do that. Somehow he's stronger than Zod or something, and because Superman's trying to wrestle Zod in there. Another said cover his eyes. Well, he's got to take his hand off his neck where he's got him in a lock to cover his eyes, right? Because he's had him in a lock. And even if he does cover his eyes, he could burn, Zod would burn a hole through his hands. And let's say he doesn't burn a hole through his hands. The backlash of that heat vision will slap both Superman and Zod in the face. Another person said, he needs to fly up with him. How are you going to fly up with him? He's got him pinned in a position. Zod was kicking his ass till he went through a building. That would give Zod the upper hand. And then Zod can try and defeat Superman, kill him, and then kill everybody on Earth. Flying upwards is not going to help the situation. What about if Superman was to just jump in front of him and take the blast of the beam? Well, he could kill himself in that process. He didn't just want to kill the Earthlings. Apparently, he wanted to kill himself. So he's out of the equation now. Zod can just completely annihilate everybody. But how is he going to jump in front of Zod? He's got to let him go to do that, right? He needs to let him go. That's retarded, you know. No, the only answer to that situation was to eliminate the threat, which was Zod. There was no other way. No other way. There was no other way. No way you could keep Zod alive. And Zod is getting stronger and stronger, and he is the better warrior of the two. right? So Superman got this opportune position to, because Zod was kicking his ass. Zod punched him up into outer space. Zod slammed him back down to Earth because they busted through a building. Every time they bust through a building, Zod would lose the upper hand. It's happened over and over and over, right? Superman gets the upper hand because they bust through a building. So he busts through a building, and Superman got the upper hand and smashed Zod into another building and knocked him down to the ground and got control of him. Okay. So Zod, he doesn't only get control of Zod. No, Zod decides he's going to kill the family that's still there pinned in a corner. What's Superman supposed to do? That's the only option. But, you see these people, and they so hate Zack Snyder. They so hate what he does that they don't have any logic to what they're saying. So they'll say a whole bunch of other things because they feel offended that Superman killed Zod by breaking his neck. Never mind Superman killed Zod in the comics. Never mind Superman killed a lot of people, a lot of bad guys in the comics. No, he can't kill Zod. In fact, Superman in Superman 2, he killed Zod. Okay, he killed Zod. So I don't get it. I don't get this fake hypocritical outrage. See, this fan here, he's addressing that. And the thing with these fans, okay, the thing with these fans is they talk about Superman a certain way. You give them the Superman that they want. Nobody goes in the cinema and see that Superman. The Superman that James Gunn is trying to do, he's going to be an underdog Superman, okay? We already kind of figured out James Gunn's coming from an underdog, kind of trash, kind of slightly rejected by the elite Superman. That's the kind of Superman James Gunn seems to be coming from, that angle. Like Spider-Man. And it's not a bad angle. It's just how he executes it, because James Gunn generally deals with flawed characters. So he's going to probably try to sort of not flaw Superman, but Superman's character is probably going to be golden, but he's going to have to take on a lot. And I believe that his circumstances are going to be flawed, meaning he's going to come from a poor environment. He's going to be, this sector of society is going to be looked down upon. I think that's where James Gunn's going to come from, where he's Superman, which is not a bad take. It's just, it's so hard to deal with what Zach has already broken the mold on that. So it's kind of like, yeah, you're gonna try and do an underdog Superman, which is cool, but at the end of the day, it's how you execute it. So he's gonna have to do a heck of a job to try and get that right. But that's what I see from James Gunn. Aesthetically, people don't like what he's doing as an intro, but I think he's trying to prep people's minds for what the movie would be. I'm sure the movie would be better than that. Do I think the James Gunn Superman movie will do well? No. Several reasons why. The first reason will be that it's still going to be a Marvel story. No matter what James Gunn does, he doesn't know how to do things other than Gunny. And so he's going to do it like a Marvel story. And because of that, it's not going to hit like it's supposed to hit. And Gunn has a way of just turning off DC fans, the majority of us. I said it and I'll say it again. DC is only going to be saved, and it's only going to be restored to the standard that it is through Zack Snyder. The Joker sequel, I looked at it and I was like, I'm not interested. It's a love story. Cool. The Batman, never been interested in it, really. I've been interested. I was curious for a while, but I'm not interested anymore. Having seen the movie, I'm not really interested anymore. So that's two things that are just out. That's the best that DC has. Everything else is a downhill battle, in my opinion. So if Warner Brothers really wants to do something with their DC, they're gonna bring back Zack Snyder. I don't think they will, but they're gonna, Abdi and DeLuca would be up for that, but I don't think they will. And just because the rumor is that Zack Snyder may be doing a 300 television series with Warner Brothers. I know that the rights for 300 is now up for Warner Brothers. I don't know if Zack has the rights or who has the rights right now, but it's just something that's interesting, and I would like to see what happens, transpires with it. Um, okay, keeping it moving here. What just happened there? Why did I go back up to the top? Oh, because you reset it. I saw. Okay. This I really want you guys to see. Okay, this is DG. This is just crossover. The Snyderverse has been true to the comics. I don't think there's any version of any DC movie I have seen that's as committed to the comics. Joker wasn't committed to the comics like that. The Batman trilogy that Nolan did wasn't committed to the comics like that. But this, I mean, you could literally take the animated series and films and comics, and you can actually see visually the same stuff. And this is what I'm showing you here. Watch this. I shot the shot. It doesn't get more comic booky than that. I mean, come on. Zack Snyder's a straight up comic book fan, man. He's a straight up comic book fan. It don't get more comic booky than that, y'all. You gotta excuse that you can't see me. Now listen to the people. This is people who are on YouTube who watch movies, right? Listen to this.
Feige of this universe.
Yeah, maybe that's another film.
This just makes me want them to keep the Snyderverse, you know? It makes me sad that we're resetting everything.
I know.
Zack Snyder probably should have been the Kevin Feige of this universe.
Damn.
Maybe that's another film like years down the line, because that would be so good. I hope so. I do feel like DC has a bright future if, I don't know, just need to get these good directors doing it. Zack saved.
I am hoping and praying for a sequel to Justice League. We need a Justice League 2 done by none other than Zack Snyder.
I'm really hoping they bring this universe back.
Good, yeah.
Because that was incredible.
And, I can't believe that that DC had it in them.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of a slap in the face for fans, and that may just be me, but just investing that much time and then for it not to continue and building it up so much. Hearing that was a big disappointment.
No, we don't get to see it. Is that a future movie or something?
I wonder what the next one is. Is there a next one?
So I'm really curious to see which direction they go.
I'm becoming a huge DC fan.
I actually am too. I'm generally enjoying it. I thought that menacing scene where he looks at them and they looking at him and he didn't go through the portal thing to go fight.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You know, and I just would love to see him come to Earth and them just fight it out.
Yeah.
And just a movie with that. Now I don't know when or if we'll be getting a movie like that anytime soon. You guys gotta let us know. This is an amazing movie and we can't wait to see the next installment.
Okay, so this was in light. White people said it was refreshing, right? Again, 1.5 million tweets. Y'all need to remember that in 2021, we had 1.5 million tweets, the highest amount of tweets ever in Hollywood for any movie. Okay. And they were saying restore the Snyderverse. And that's a mandate Warner Brothers or whoever gets in charge of DC has to fulfill. But besides the point, and I know Warner Bros. Is trying to move towards Disney. I see what they're doing, but anyway. So what I'm trying to say to you guys is this. A lot of people who watch these movies, whether they watch them back to back or whatever, they really want to see sequels to Zack Snyder's Justice League. And that's why you had that tremendous response of Restore the Snyderverse that went to 1.5 million tweets, because people who were not Snyder fans watched the movie because of course so much, the historical nature of the movie, etc. First time in Hollywood this is happening. And so many people were won over by what Zack Snyder did that we got this tremendous response. We had celebrities, everybody was talking about Restore the Snyderverse. Pretty much the event that happened with that in 2021 is the event that's happening now in the world concerning Free Palestine. Free Palestine is like a tremendous thing right now. The whole entire world wants Palestine to be free of the occupation of Israel, free of apartheid and all that, and Israel needs to be dismantled. I already said that a long time ago. Israel needs to be dismantled. But as Lord Cool J's video will show you, you will find out why they've been pressing so hard for Israel not to be dismantled, and why they're pushing back now on, whether it's Jew, whoever you are, they're pushing back on that. There's a reason, and I'm not going to reveal it. I'm not going to spoil it for you. I want you to go watch Lord Cool J's video that I referred you guys to in the beginning concerning that. Oh, by the way, my channel, you can donate to my channel via PayPal. I think the link is in the description. So you can check the description of this video before or after, whenever you see it. And you can donate via PayPal because, I do a business here. All right, but back to what I was saying. Check this out. Check this out, ladies and gentlemen.
Man, this was amazing. Oh, man. This was amazing. Zack Snyder, you did your thing, dog. What's the next after this? How can you make a movie after this, DC Comics? You made it hard for the next movies following this. Because this was so good. Even though it's 4 hours, every minute was good. Every minute was good. Wasn't the part where I'm like, okay, it's getting a little dry right here. No. It wasn't a part where I felt it was getting a little dry. It wasn't a part like I felt was getting like my ex. Dry. It wasn't a part like that. So this was great, man. Wow. I don't even know what to say. What's next? I'm gonna leave it at that, dude. What's next? We watched it. That was good. I just need to know what's next. I felt like this left me off on letting me know something was about to happen.
Yeah, cliffhanger.
Oh man, this was amazing. Zack Snyder, you did your thing, dog. What's the next?
So, these are funny reactions. And these people are not Snyder fans. They're not Snyder fans. That's what's so funny. All right, let me put some context into this because I'm spending a lot of time talking about Zack Snyder and stuff. Let me put some context into this. So, basically, what he's talking about is Zack Snyder's Justice League that came out March 18th, 2021. That's about 3 years now. And you got to understand something. DC was in the slump. It just flop after flop after flop. They had Birds of Prey that came out in 2020. That flopped. Then Wonder Woman 84. That flopped. And then this, so you had two flops. It was coming off with two flops. And then Zack Snyder's Justice League came out. And then after Zack Snyder's Justice League came out, we had the Suicide Squad and that flopped. So my brother's saying, oh man, I think y'all spoiled it for DC because like Zack Snyder came up with this lit movie, this super lit movie, and you don't feel nothing could improve on that. Like you need to let this homie just keep doing his thing. You know what I'm saying? Marvel and Kevin Feige, I'm gonna say this about Kevin Feige. He was a brilliant guy. Because what Kevin Feige did was this. Kevin Feige said, because they got Secret Wars to look forward to, right? Marvel fans got Secret Wars to look forward to. He always got that big thing that everybody want to see and everybody looking forward to. And Zack Snyder's big thing was Justice League, right? Zack was building up to Justice League. But Zack had hype every step of the way. Man of Steel was hyped, right? Was not hyped, but BVS was fucking hyped, right? And then after BVS, we had Justice League on the horizon. Well, nobody was thinking about Wonder Woman. The Suicide Squad was kind of a hype movie as well. And because of the internal conflicts, Justice League was not hyped. It ended up being a piece of shit. So, we were looking on to the next thing. And because Jason Momoa was so much for the Snyder Cut, seeing it released, bam! A lot of people supported Aquaman. But really, we wanted to support Zack Snyder's Justice. I'm telling you right now, if the Snyder Cut came out in theaters, 4 hours long or not, they'd have killed it in theaters. Okay? Because this thing was historical. People would go see this movie just to be part of the history of a film that was rejected by a studio and then came back out and had life. No, this had not happened. This had never happened like this. But they decided not to put it in theaters. Fuck them. Anyway, sorry about that, cursing and everything, but I just had to say it. So here is a fan. This is like part of the general audience. And he's like calling Zack Snyder a dog and all kinds of things. And he loved the movie so much. He want to see something of that caliber again. Because what you got to understand is BOP and Wonder Woman 84 were disappointments. They was not the caliber of what the Snyderverse was. In fact, nobody'd seen the caliber of what the Snyderverse was since Wonder Woman 2017. After Wonder Woman 2017, we wasn't getting that kind of quality. We wasn't getting that kind of, the scenery, the detail. We wasn't getting that shit no more. Right? Justice League 2017 was shit. Aquaman was shit. The quality was meh. The story was paper thin. Shazam was shit. I mean, no disrespect to you, David Sandberg. I follow you and everything, but bro, it's a comedy. I mean, you wouldn't take it that seriously, but the physics and everything was off. So people were tired of that. It was like, what was going on here? You sold us this with Man of Steel. This is what you sold us. You sold us, this is what the kind of movies we were just getting used to it. And you change it up. And it looked worse. It don't look better, it looked worse. But why? Because the industry insiders, the trolls, and of course, Jeff Johns was pushing a certain narrative. And Warner was listening to them. They was listening to the people in the industry. He wasn't listening to the fans. I remember once Warner Brothers said, we will never listen. We cannot follow the fans. Because if we start to follow the fans, then they'll control us. And I'm like, you're an idiot. Kevin Feige listens to the fans. Kevin Feige does what the fans want. Because he knows that's where the hype is. Well, the fans ain't the general audience. The fans drive the general audience to want to watch a movie. It's the fans, not the general audience, that got the Snyder Cut. It wasn't the general audience. Now the general audience wants more. They want more of that. So for the trolls and the industry insiders who are saying Zack Snyder must never touch a DC movie, the average person is saying, why isn't this guy doing this? They calling him the Kevin Feige of DC. These people are not Snyder fans. They're part of the general audience. If these people are saying that, if Zack Snyder comes back to DC tomorrow, the hype, the buzz, I couldn't care less what the critics say. I couldn't care less what the paid-to-play people say. Because they're not the majority. Everybody will lose their minds. In fact, when the rumor went around that Zack Snyder might be working with Warner Brothers again, doing 300 TV show, the stock of Warner Brothers rose by 6 points. All of a sudden, it was $8.40 a share, rising up. It was down at, I think it was either $7.90 or $8 and whatever cents it was. We went up 6 points. I think it was $7.80 or some shit like that. Went up 6 points, or shall I say 60 cents. My point being, Zack Snyder increases the stock of Warner Brothers. The market price goes up when you bring Zack Snyder into the equation because that's the guy you need, not James Gunn. Warner Brothers. I don't care that he's a crew boy or he's a part of the fraternity. I couldn't care less. And I know why they have James Gunn there, because they want to do the crossover with Marvel. Oh, Marvel's the thing. It's going to flop if you do that. It's going to flop. DC going to bring down Marvel. Because guess what? There's no buzz for DC. And yes, there are loyal Marvel fans, but they're starting to give up their loyalty because the crap that Marvel's giving. Okay? They're not buying into the BS anymore. And what I'm saying about Kevin Feige, he was smart enough to understand what the fans want and know the events that the fans want. Warner Brothers got no leadership where they are right now. Okay? Abdi and DeLuca was doing the best they can, and they probably the people who, if anything, if Zach get any work in Warner Brothers, it's going to be because of them, I believe. However that happens. I know they're lining up George Miller, but George Miller, he's like producing a dud right now with Furiosa. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that Furiosa is a bad movie. I'm saying that Furiosa is probably a movie that I wouldn't enjoy. But I do know this. He's producing a dud right now. And that's the ripple effect. I think Joker might end up being a dud as well, because unfortunately, the backlash is starting to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and people are going to get more and more disgusted with the company because you're not doing what you're supposed to do. And don't tell me, I want to just let everybody know, don't tell me that there's a better director to do this job than Zack Snyder. I'm going to tell you why Zack Snyder is the director to do the job, because he's the one that Warner Brothers did wrong to. And he's the guy that builds universes. He got the Armyverse. He got the Rebelverse. He had the Snyderverse in DC. He's the guy that builds, he's the guy that did the impossible and got Watchmen on the screen. And he always been doing comic book movies. 300, Watchmen, Sucker Punch, which is more anime though. Snyderverse. Okay? Now he come up with his own version, the Armyverse. Got Armyverse going. He got Twilight of the Gods, which is going to be an animated feature, which is again more in line with comic books. The man knows comic books. The man knows comic books. Let's keep it moving. I got some more for you guys. All right. Oh, that's Joseph. Nick says, love how Man of Steel was pretty much an immigrant story, but all purists got from it is he doesn't smile enough. Yeah, it was an immigrant story. You know, the point of the character is lost on them and just allows them to feel good about exposing to do good without any actual good. All right, let's get to it.
The people will come up to me and say, like, the thing about Man of Steel that I felt like is that Man of Steel is the movie that the people will come up to me and say, like, that movie changed my life. Like, that movie, like, you know, like, I thought it was about me, you know, like, I'm an immigrant. Like, I just saw myself in Superman. It's like, really, like, you know, I was struggling at the time. And when I saw it, I'd just be like, man, that's so cool. Like, I'm so grateful that, like, you know, you felt that way about the movie. The thing about Man of Steel that I felt like is that.
And I really appreciate that. Zach has adopted a couple of kids from across the ways, and you know, his family is a kind of mixed, integrated family. And I always felt like this guy, you know, to get that expression across to people that you're not accepted just because your name's Superman means you automatically accept it. Oh, it's Superman. The whole world's supposed to accept it. No. One of the greatest Supermen of all time, Yahshua Messiah, aka Jesus the Christ, wasn't accepted universally, particularly by the leadership. They didn't like him. They got him killed. All that good he did didn't save him from being murdered. So the story of Superman that I saw with BVS. They would say, "Why did Superman die so soon? Why did he die so soon?" I'll ask the question. I'll ask the question. How many people in this society who effected change in a drastic way lived to tell about it? Martin Luther King died too soon. Mahatma Gandhi died too soon. How many do we need to go through? How many do we need to go through? Even in The Matrix, Neo died too soon. Why? Because you're bucking the system. You're interrupting the system. So it wasn't surprising that Superman, first they build a controversy around him. They make him look like he's a bad guy. They got some dirt on him. That's what Lex Luthor did. That's what they do. They create these narratives. They're doing it with Zach. They're doing it with... They try to make what a person is saying not relevant, not important. They try to censor them. And if they can't succeed, then they're going to kill you. They can't kill you career-wise or whatever way you make your living, then they're going to try and literally kill you. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to be on record. I think they killed Zack Snyder's daughter. However, they got a trigger. They probably studied her file, whatever, to see what triggers it was. And she was going through a difficult time, and she took her life. I feel they killed her. And there are ways to do it. Put pressure on people. I'm not saying they directly killed her, like they went in and killed her. I'm saying they put pressure on her, and they knew what her trigger points were. Because Zach was going through hell. And she's probably taking on some of it. All right, so let's keep it moving. These people don't care about children. They don't care about anything. They're soulless people. They sold their souls to Satan a long time ago. I got one more. I'm trying to look for it right now. I'm going to find it. Hopefully. If not, I know where to go. I wonder if have I gone too far down? I think. Oh, shit. Not in bookmarks. Okay, it's in bookmarks. I got one more for you guys before I finish with the Snyderverse. And I got to talk about Free Palestine. I got a lot to say, but more importantly, I want you guys to go. You know what? I might not say anything much about Free Palestine today because I've already taken up like an hour and 17 minutes. I don't want to go much longer. I don't want to go too long at least. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you guys watch Lord Cool J's video. When I'm done with this video, if I get a chance to do something with it, I'm going to put the link for Lord Cool J's video so you guys can go watch it. Let me just see if I can see what I'm looking for here. I'll talk about the atrocities another time. Ah, here we are. All right. So true. The Snyderverse fandom is the most loyal, passionate, and inspirational fandom I've ever been a part of. This is Cinehouse. And they also the fandom that gets the most hate. And trust me, I know all about the hate. I'm a Star Wars fan. If you love Zack Snyder and his movies, never stop supporting it. And this is his video. I want you to hear him.
$1 million for suicide awareness. Okay, this message is specifically to Snyder fans. Ones who are always tweeting about the Snyderverse, talking about sell the Snyderverse to Netflix, all of that stuff. When people tell you guys to move on, do not listen to a single person.
For real.
You guys are the people that got $1 billion studio to release the true vision of a director's cut.
Correct.
You guys are also the same fan base that raised $1.1 million for suicide awareness. Literal lives were saved because you guys campaigned for this movie. Everyone said you guys were crazy to think that a Snyder Cut would actually exist. And now we get to watch that movie whenever we want to.
Yes,
and I'm not going to lie, I was so close to shutting down my TikTok. The amount of hate that I would get in DMs and comments all because I liked the Snyderverse was getting to me. But then I see people on Twitter talking about I should get popped in the face because I like BVS. Which then I remembered I only have a TikTok because of the Snyderverse. Because I got so tired of seeing big creators shit on these movies for no reason. Fast forward a couple years later, I'm actually making money and paying my bills through this TikTok account. Even if the Snyderverse never comes back, even if it doesn't get sold to Netflix, do not ever stop talking about this universe. The only people that should be moving on are the people that don't like these movies. Anyone who hates these movies or hates this universe, by all means, tell me in the comments. DM me. Whatever you want. I'm never going to stop talking about it. Okay, this message is specifically to Snyder fans. We're always tweeting about the Snyder.
So Cinehouse is right. I mean, but it's very possible that it will come back. It's very probable. I'll show you guys evidence of that. I mean, listen, you just have to go watch the Warner Brothers stock. Since the Zack Snyder's Justice League came out, I mean, it's there. It's obvious that the audience wants the Snyderverse to come back. A lot of the audience is not these trolls who are minor people who can't even make a movie break even. You know, they can use bots, they can use whatever. The bots can't go into the theaters and make the movies break even. You know, they can pay people to go see the movies and all of that, but it's still not going to break even. The way how that's going to happen is by bringing back Zack Snyder, is what it is, or by selling the Snyderverse to Netflix, some arrangement they do so that the Snyderverse can be seen. But I would prefer, I mean, to be honest with you, it doesn't matter. I just wanted to make sure I can see the Snyderverse that continues on a theatrical screen, particularly IMAX. If I can see it on IMAX, I'm cool. You know, because honestly speaking, I would like to see these things in theaters. They're designed for theaters, they're theatrical experience. I don't want to see it you know, on streaming platforms per se alone. I would watch it on streaming platform. I don't know, but I like a physical a digital copy as well. But that's what I want. So but it's going to come back for sure, 100%. I'm telling you, it's not even 4 years yet. The Snyder Cut came out 4 years after that atrocity Justice League came out. So it's not 4 years yet. So, you know. So I was just really happy to see this. And that's really it for me with Restore the Snyderverse for now. I just wanted to finish it off with Cinehouse. There's a lot of you guys on Twitter. There's a lot of you guys on Twitter. There's guys that I don't even know. You know, I see you guys pop up on my stuff and start to identify. I did a tweet. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know where it would be. There's so many tweets I've done. So, but I did a tweet that got like almost 400 likes and so many comments because it was just a tweet on Restore the Snyderverse, and that, you know, 1.5 million tweets said that we should restore the Snyderverse. And I know it wasn't just Snyder fans. It touched the general audience. It became something outside of a fandom, and it became mainstream. And trust me, these mainstream people, they love the Snyderverse. You know, a lot of them love the Snyderverse. So this was just some tweets I did, and I'm just checking an update on it. I'm gonna check that out later. So basically that's it with the Snyderverse. Let's talk a little bit about Free Palestine, real brief. Like I said before, I want you guys to check out the Lord Coke J video. That's really the thing. But here's a couple things. Piers Morgan. Listen to Piers Morgan as he actually interrogates an Israeli lady.
If you killed, and he had no idea. I put this to an Israeli government spokesman. I asked him, how many Hamas have you killed? And he gave me this figure. And I said, how many civilians have you killed? And he had no idea. I said, well, then how can you be so precise about how many terrorists you've killed? You can't. If you've got no idea how many civilians you've killed, why should I believe a word about the numbers of Hamas?
Because we know how many brigades they have, because we have that intelligence. We know how many brigades.
So just to be clear, you know exactly how many terrorists you've killed, but you have no idea how many civilians.
We estimate, absolutely. We estimate that there's about 14,000 terrorists, which we've gotten rid of. We know how many are left. There's 4 brigades, and that's why we're in Rafah.
And how many civilians have you killed?
The UN, again, Piers, in the middle of the Second World War, I don't think you could.
Wow, you're doing it as well.
Ask him.
Sorry, Fleur.
What am I doing?
You're doing the same thing the government spokesman did. You know exactly how many terrorists you've killed, but you've no idea how many civilians.
We don't know exactly.
How convenient.
We don't know exactly.
How convenient. That Israel knows exactly how many terrorists you've killed, but you've no idea how many innocent women and children.
Okay. why I love this, I know you can't see my face right now, is because Piers Morgan is as pro-Israeli as they come. And he's seen through the facade. Now she's talking about brigades. They have intel on their brigades. Here's the problem with that. Problem is, how can you count terrorists and not count how many civilians? All right. You say, okay, this guy, he lives in this area, he lives in that area, right? You're using intelligence. You say your intelligence knows how many brigades they have, blah, 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 blah. But how do you identify when you've killed a terrorist? Would you know that by location? How you're shooting blind, and they blow up blocks and blocks of people. They kill blocks and blocks of people. And they supposedly notified the people. Now, if you're notifying the people, aren't you notifying the terrorists as well? If you say to use people as human shields, why are you notifying the people? I'll be straight with y'all. The reason why they notified they don't go with their intel and they don't go with their special forces is because they're afraid that on the ground they're gonna get their ass kicked. So they try to level out as much of the place, and they, instead of keeping the place, this is the ass backward shit. And this is why we know they're just trying to ethnic cleanse, and they're committing a genocide. And this is why this argument won't stand. If the infrastructure was in place, if buildings were in place, and the infrastructure was in place, and the civilians were allowed to move along, and you had Mossad agents in there, in Gaza, okay, and you had informants in Gaza, they would so much more easily catch these Hamas people, because anything irregular that happens in Palestine would be amplified because you have infrastructure there. So let's say a building blows up all of a sudden. Now that's unusual, so that people will now want to know who's responsible for that. And if it's Hamas that was responsible for that blown up building that probably killed some civilians and stuff, now Hamas is becoming the enemy. Now Hamas is becoming negative. You can't just booby trap any kind of building and kill people. So they should have had special forces infiltrate inside of Palestine. And yes, it's mostly Palestinians, but you will have Palestinians that will work for you, because there will be Palestinians that don't like what Hamas is doing inside of Palestine. So they didn't carry out their operations sensibly and properly. They had the wrong tools for that, but they had the right tools for genocide. They had the right tools to level the place, you know. So that's why I don't buy that shit that she's saying about the different brigades. If you knew there was the different brigades there already, then you wouldn't have even sent bombers. You would have let things kind of move along as if it's normal, you know, while you send your special forces and your special this and your special that. And like you would have engaged, like for example, where Hamas was firing the rockets towards Israel, you would have engaged those targets. You'd have taken out those targets. But the other ground targets, you would have used your intel, your special forces, and even precise tracking missiles from, you know, maybe just outside of Gaza. You know, you have your infantry do that instead of these tremendously big bombs that you dropped and blew up, you know, blocks upon blocks of infrastructure and people. So I don't buy that shit. And notifying people, that doesn't work. How quickly can the people evacuate an area? So I don't believe that. So ultimately, in the end, the Gazans, the Palestinians that were in Gaza were terrified, and Israel did not do a good job of trying to lie to us and tell us, oh, well, we got rid of these Hamas agents, right? Do you have a list of Hamas agents that you killed? Do you have a list of the population that you killed? See, at least the Ministry of Health or whatever should have that. By the way, I also believe that the numbers that they're giving us, 35,000 people killed, are absolutely not the number. The number is probably in the hundreds of thousands. It's probably in the hundreds of thousands to maybe even 200,000 people are dead because they're pulling people out from underneath the rubble And remember, they've been able to get some of the people out that are dead and some of the body parts out. But then people were charred to a crisp but not even recognizable. You know, the numbers are way below the actual numbers that they're supposed to be for that. John McCain, let's hear this. This is 2016.
President, I rise to discuss my opposition to the pending vote concerning Mr. Tony Blinken, who is not only unqualified, but in fact, in my view, one of the worst selections of a very bad lot that this president has chosen. In this case, this individual has actually been dangerous to America and to the young men and women who are fighting and serving it. I am telling my colleagues that we will see the replay of Iraq all over again.
Okay. We believe the submission against Israel to the International Court of Justice distracts the world from all of these important efforts. And moreover, the charge of genocide is meritless.
Well, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. So,
President, I rise to discuss my opposition to the pending vote concerning Mr. Tony Blinken, who is not only unqualified, but in fact, in my view, one of the worst selections of a very bad lot that this president has chosen. In this case, this individual has actually been dangerous to America and to the young men and women who are fighting and serving it. I am telling my colleagues that we will see the replay of Iraq all over again.
So Mr. Anthony Blinken, for those of you who don't know, Mr. Anthony Blinken has both Israeli and American citizenship. And he has, obviously, he's there because of the interest of Iraq. And as the late Mr. McCain said, he's the worst because he actually is part of the genocide of Israel. And we're seeing what happened in Iraq. We're seeing that now happening here. Okay, this is some of the devastation that phosphorus bombs that Israel uses on Lebanon. They use the phosphorus bombs also on Gaza. The Turks have stopped exporting. They've stopped all their trade with Israel, so that's very good. This is actual words that the head of one of the heads of the IDF, spokesman for the IDF, said. This is Daniel Hagari. He said this: "We are dropping hundreds of tons of bombs on Gaza. The focus is on destruction, not accuracy." He literally said that. Okay. Hezbollah burnt in the north, is burning down some of the towns and villages, and there was a forest fire. A number of bases had to evacuate. And so they've been saying this.
Can torture us and bomb us and burn our districts to the ground. But do you see that? Fire catching. And if we burn, you burn with us.
Okay, so that was Lebanon fighting back at Israel. And they bombed, I think they bombed a city in Lebanon, and Lebanon came back and they torched a whole forest and got some of the bases out. Northern Israel right now is under attack by Hezbollah. But as I was saying before, the people profiting from this are the military-industrial complex. They're selling all their weapons, and they've been very happy with their sales and their advertising to other people. So the military-industrial complex is what's rewarded for these wars. And war is not really a great thing, and the American military-industrial complex is very happy for these wars that Israel's having, and they go to no end to supply these weapons. Never mind, the American economy is going to shit because of this. And of course, the Russians and the Iranians supply weapons also to the resistance fighters. But I would say this, and some European countries too also. I want to say this, that as you can see, this is what the Zionists are saying in Israel, kill them all. Of course, there's resistance to them in Tel Aviv. If Israelis stop fighting, there will be peace. If Palestinians stop fighting, there will be no more Palestinians. And they're right. And there's a lot more. There's a lot of amputees right now, and a lot of children in Israel. A German grandson of Nazis comes to Israel during a war to enlist in the IDF. That's so crazy. And you have more and more and more and more and more. Okay. This is more on comic books and stuff. So AIPAC Tracker talks about all the politicians who have taken AIPAC money and super PACs. Or Israeli lobby money, and they're trying to get rid of the squad. They're trying to get rid of certain people. There was a governor in Michigan they got rid of, who is a Jew, and was against the war and is against what's going on. But there's much more to it. So I want you guys to go check out Lord Kojay's video. Like I said before, I'll try and put the link at the end of this video. I'm gonna wrap it up right here. I'm getting out of here. I am Christ, I am disciple. I hope you guys have a good one. Fight for justice, fight for truth. Always fight for justice, always fight for truth. There's one more thing I want to say about Zack Snyder stuff. These Virgin Comic Geeks had 11 minutes to bitch, moan, and ponder, and still can't come up with a viable option. Superman had mere seconds to make a decision before more people died, and he made the right decision. That's killing General Zod. And then the Illimitable Lupe says, people debate Zack Snyder's Man of Steel and BVS more than any other comic book film, which is very true. So that's it. I'm going to catch you guys later. I am Christ, I am disciple. I hope you guys got information or informed, up to date on different things. Feel free to donate to this channel if you do feel like donating to the channel. I'll catch you guys later. Peace. I'm gone.